Hey, all right, we've made it to week 4. Hope everyone made it through the test okay. Just a few notes on that. Sometimes I know, especially if this is your first time in class, you don't know what to expect on the first exam. So, worst case scenario, you've got a little bit better understanding about how the test is set up, how you might need to prepare for it. A few things. I know their grades were across the board. For the most part, they were really good. Class average was really good. But I'm sure there were some people who felt like they could have done better, or you feel like you need a better grade in this class. So the good news is it's early enough in the semester. Just kind of look at yourself, be really honest, and see how you prepared for the class and if there's anything you might need to do differently going forward. So first off, the easiest one, and this should be so much common sense. Make sure that you're watching the lecture videos. I've done it before, but the best way I can describe it, if you just read through the PowerPoints, that would be like if this was a regular class and you never showed up to lecture day and you just said, I'll look at it on my own. You're not going to do well if that's what you're doing. So make sure you watch those. Having someone explain the notes is much better than just trying to read the PowerPoint and try to fill in the gaps yourself. Watch those. I would really recommend when you're taking notes when you watch the lecture. If you ever get to something that doesn't make sense to you, write down like a quick note. What did you mean by this? And then when you're done, send me a message and I'll be glad to help you out with that. I would much rather have that conversation early in the semester than later on when it's too late. All right, so test is out of the way. What we have this week, excuse me. Last week we looked at chapter 3, which was on organic chemistry. So this week we're going to look at chapters 4 and 5. Those two chapters actually go together really well. Chapter 4 is on cells, and we're going to spend a lot of time talking about cell parts and what they do. Chapter 5 is talking about the cell membrane and diffusion and osmosis. That's how things can go in and out of the cell. So they're both dealing with the cell. You're going to watch both of those. And then by Friday, you can do it earlier, but by Friday, you're going to take a review quiz on chapters 4 and 5. Okay? After the review quiz, let's see, Sunday, you've got another lab. So lab 3 is on cells. It's going to match up a lot with what we talked about in the lecture videos. So eukaryotic and prokaryotic cells. Now, notice that it says you don't have to provide any material for this one. This is another one, kind of like lab 1, where everything is going to be on HOL cloud. But it does take a little bit of time. You're going to have to label different structures. And if you haven't done that before, it's going to take some time to go through and look at the images and make sure that you're identifying the right thing. So just make sure that you give yourself enough time. It says underneath there that it recommends 3 hours for those labs. So I would give myself at least that much time just to make sure that you're not rushed right at the deadline. Okay? Other than that, I know that we just had exam 1, but make sure you realize that exam 2 is coming up pretty soon also. So this is going to be June 24th. Exams are pretty much every 2 weeks in this class. So June 24th is going to be the next exam. The good news is it's just on 3 chapters. So 3, 4, and 5. The organic chemistry, cells, cell membrane, diffusion, and osmosis. I'm not trying to scare, I promise, I'm not trying to scare anybody, but what I've noticed in the past in all of my classes, traditional and online, the second exam tends to be a little bit lower than all the other exams in the test. Like as far as class averages, it might be 7 or 8 points lower as far as the class average. Now, there are students who do better every semester. I've got students who do way better on the second one than the first one. But just what I'm saying is on average, grades tend to go down a little bit on exam 2, and then they go back up on 3, 4, and 5. So just make sure you're preparing. If you studied for that first test and you're like, whew, that wasn't as bad as I thought, don't let up for exam 2. That also means if you're needing to make improvements over exam 1, you're really going to have to put some work in. So don't wait. Start looking at these lecture videos. Send me your questions, and I'll be glad to help you out however I can. All right. So that's it for this week. Let me know if you need anything. Thanks.